Financial statements and annual reports are largely public relations documents containing audited financial data and providing some information in positive languages and ways. Therefore, it is not easy for readers to know anything about the future as they are past-oriented, or for executive readers to make a decision only based on them. For this reason, surveys of organizational finance are important in order to understand the true situations and predict the future of an organization, whether it will survive or not before it gets too late to make plans for a fix. For-profit organizations will share information such as new product launches and services that all have the goal of generating more profit for the business. However, non-profit organizations will end the report by sharing what services or programs have been the most successful and how they plan on developing these to serve more people on a larger scale. The following presentation will compare two nonprofit organizations, World Vision and Compassion International, in order to understand how NGOs at an international level spend their budgets from a perspective of a possible investor. Their programs are child-focused. However, Compassion International's child development through child sponsorship helps help the sponsored child's spiritual and physical needs through a partnership with a church in the neighborhood, while World Vision's community development program has no guarantee for a direct benefit to the sponsored child, but to they support their community. The donations are used to build roads, dig wells, provide food, fund schools, and carry out disaster relief. Compassion International and World Vision are different, but they can support extreme poverty. Overall, according to the Charity Navigator, Compassion always works through the local church to develop one child at a time into an adult who can transform their community someday, and World Vision, sometimes in partnership with local churches, develops communities in a way that positively impacts the lives of the children. The following presentations will discuss details of financial statements of Compassion International and World Vision and compare if any outstanding differences. In return on asset ratio, Compassion International shows very low, and it is mainly because of the low rate in the change in the net assets, which is the revenue less expense. Return on equity is a key profitability ratio that sponsors use to measure the amount of an organization's income that is returned as owner's equity, and a measure of a financial performance calculated by dividing net income by the equity. A higher return on equity indicates that an organization is effectively using the contributions of equity sponsors to generate additional profits and return the profits to sponsors. Since nonprofit organizations do not have owners, there is no owner's equity, but instead of owner's equity, it rather shows net assets. In the year 2017, World Vision shows a 0.29, and for Compassion International, 0.002. It is applied to profit organizations, but usually higher and increased ROE means better performances. In terms of net assets, unrestricted assets such as expendable net assets increased from 21.8% to 35.1% for World Vision, and temporarily restricted net assets also increased from 34.9% to 60.6% in 2017. However, the temporarily restricted net asset increased from 33.9% to 51.8%, but the unrestricted asset decreased from 47.4% to 13.2% for Compassion International in 2017. The World Vision and Compassion International are both non-governmental organizations that serve internationally. World Vision serves international programs 89%, domestic programs 11%, and public awareness and education 0.4% among program services. And 87% of the total program and supporting services were spent for funding of World Vision and international and United States domestic programs, which is increased from 80.2% of the year 2016. Compassion International serves as child development programs and relevant ministries and spent 82.4% to the programs in 2017, which was 82.7% in 2016. Among functional expenses except for expenditures from program and supporting services, the second top expenditure of both organizations are salaries and employee benefits, and World Vision's ratio decreased from 10.6% to 10.1% in 2017, while Compassion International increased from 16.3% to 17.4%. The primary use of cash for each organization is purchase of investments. For sources of cash, World Vision shows much in accounts payable and accrued expense, deferred revenue, and proceeds from the same of donated marketable securities, although deferred revenue is decreased in 2017. For Compassion International, it shows depreciation and amortization. However, compared with the previous year, there shows a big discrepancies in net unrealized loss on foreign exchange contracts, increase in funds committed to sponsorship projects, and decrease in accounts payable and accrued liabilities in 2017. Change in net assets is equal to net income for these organizations, which is decreased for Compassion International, whereas it is increased for World Vision. The decrease 97% is mainly because of a less increase in revenue and more increase in expenses from the previous year. In terms of net assets, unrestricted assets such as expendable net assets increased from 21.8% to 35.1% for World Vision, and temporarily restricted net assets also increased from 34.9% to 60.6% in 2017. However, the temporarily restricted net asset increased from 33.9% to 51.8%, but the unrestricted asset decreased from 47.4% to 43.2% for Compassion International in 2017. World Vision attracts more investors who seek a variety of programs. Its approach to a community with a holistic view rather than sponsoring children directly helps the development of the community where children live and grow via support continuously. In addition, the World Vision's objective for financial liquidity and reserves to operate in a good stability with its recognition of the imperative of distributing maximum funds to mission as quickly as possible are attractive because its sufficient liquid assets are able to discharge ongoing projects and others.